I like to discuss topics related to infrared photography. In this video, I'll share the best raw photo editors for infrared. This will focus on desktop applications, although I'll touch on iPad apps as well. I've grouped these into the following categories: best free open source software, best low-cost editor, best ease of use editor, and best overall ecosystem. I've created a video for every application discussed here which goes into more detail. You can find links in the description. Let's get started. The first category is best free open source software. Darktable is available for Linux, Mac, and Windows. It has a catalog named Lighttable and an editor called Darkroom. It has excellent raw demosaicing with 5 methods available. It covers basic edits, has an excellent spot white balancing tool, and has a channel mixer swap preset built in. It has excellent color modules, and modules can be masked and blended like layers. And also, Darktable is free. The UI is not so pretty, but it's not hard to use. It lacks full layer support. For full layers, you can export images and use GIMP, and printing is not available in Windows. Also, you can export and use GIMP. Next up is Raw Therapy. Raw Therapy is available for Linux, Mac, and Windows. It has a catalog called the File Browser. It has a good user interface but can be a little complex at times. It has excellent raw demosaicing with 7 methods available with many options. It includes basic editing, a good auto white balance, which is rare for infrared, many excellent color modules, and it's free. On the downside, there's no layers. For that, you'll have to use GIMP. It has profile soft proofing, but no printing. For that, you'll have to export and use GIMP. In addition to being free, these open source tools have excellent and flexible demosaicing capabilities, which is unrivaled in any of the commercial solutions that are available. And the winner for the best free open source software? Well, it's a tie. Darktable and Raw Therapy are both excellent applications. Darktable has an edge when it comes to rendering and using modules and layers. Raw Therapy has a slightly better UI and more color tools. But aside from those edges, they're actually very close. You can't go wrong with either of these applications. The next category is Best Low-Cost Editor, and there are 4 applications in this category. First up is Affinity Photo, which is available for Mac, Windows, and the iPad. It's easy to use, has an excellent user interface, good raw support, a good editor, although there's a little bit of a limited white balance range. It has layers, it can edit PSD files, and has powerful tools with HDR, panorama, focus stacking, and batch processing all built in. The desktop application is $50 and the iPad application is $20. There's no catalog support and there's that limited white balance range. Otherwise, Affinity Photo is a very powerful editor. Luminar is available for Mac and Windows. It includes a catalog, a great user interface. It's easy to use with good editing tools. It offers layers and printing, and it comes with a one-time cost of $80. There's no channel mixer or invert, but you can use curves to swap your colors. The RAW and DNG support can be limited with some file formats, and the application can be slow. Next up is ON1. ON1 is available on Mac, Windows, iOS, and Android tablets and smartphones, and it has a cloud sync capability. It has a catalog, an excellent user interface, it's easy to use. It has raw support, a great basic editor, a channel mixer with swap preset built in, layers, printing, all available for a one-time cost of $100 or a monthly subscription of $8. This is a full ecosystem that can compete with Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop. And finally, we have Photoshop Elements, which is available for Mac and Windows. It includes a catalog, good raw support, and a good basic editor. However, the UI is dated, the quick guided expert areas can be confusing, there's no channel mixer, it needs a custom profile like all of Adobe's products. It has no graduated radial or brush filters, and it's missing many of the features compared to Lightroom and Photoshop. It does have a one-time cost of $100 and no subscription, but that $100 does seem a bit overpriced for the features you get. There are many other options available at a lower cost, or you could use Lightroom, which is more expensive but more full-featured. And the winner in the category of Best Low-Cost Editor is Affinity Photo. Affinity Photo is a great, powerful tool, and it's very affordable at only $50 for a one-time cost. Our next category is Best Ease of Use Editor. In this category, we have the same 4 applications as we did in the last category, Best Low Cost. That is Affinity Photo, Luminar, ON1, and Photoshop Elements. And the winner for the best ease of use editor is On1. On1 has a great user interface and is really easy to use, so highly recommended if that's one of your key criteria. Before we talk about best ecosystem, I'd like to talk about best for the iPad. Affinity Photo has an iPad app, which I have yet to test. I'm looking forward to that. If it's as powerful as the desktop version, then that could be a strong contender. Lightroom has an iPad app available. It supports catalog, has a great UI, RAW, good editing tools. It needs a profile to be added from the desktop. There's no channel mixer, which you can compensate for with a LUT-based profile, and the filters lack range masks as available on the desktop version. Plus, of course, there is a subscription cost to use Lightroom on the iPad. On1 has an iPad app available, another app that I have yet to test. I look forward to testing that. On1 has a great desktop app, and hopefully the iPad app is just as good. Next is Pixelmator Photo, which has a great user interface, RAW support, good editing tools, a channel mixer, great auto settings with the ML machine learning capabilities, great healing brush, and a very, very low cost. It has no catalog, which is fine for an iPad app. It has no graduated radial or brush filters, which is kind of a key miss here. If Pixelmator Photo was to add these, it would really add a boost to this application. And of course, there's no layer support. Finally, we have Photoshop, which is a relatively new app for the iPad. It has a modern user interface with layers. However, it can't read RAW files. There's no Adobe Camera Raw equivalent. It has no basic photo editing, no channel mixer, although you could do a 180 slide on the hue, and there's a subscription cost. So Photoshop has a long way to go before it can be suitable for editing infrared photos. And right now, I'm not going to declare a winner in the iPad category. I'd still like to review Affinity Photo, and I'd still like to review On1. Pixelmator Photo is a nice application, Lightroom's a good application, and Photoshop has a long way to go. And now our final category, which is Best Ecosystem. In this category, we have Affinity Photo, which has apps for the Mac, Windows, iPad. Affinity Photo has really powerful tools with a great user interface. These applications are purchased individually and there is no subscription cost. However, there's no syncing or file sharing natively within the applications. Next is Lightroom and Photoshop. They come bundled together as part of Adobe's Creative Cloud Photography plan, which includes Lightroom Classic, New Lightroom, Photoshop, Bridge, Lightroom for the iPad, and Photoshop for the iPad. These are powerful tools. Lightroom has a great catalog and good RAW support. Some people complain about the X-Trans support in Lightroom and Photoshop, but really it's just a matter of sharpening. The sharpening defaults are a little too high, but you ease those back and it's not a problem. There are great editing capabilities in Lightroom. Photoshop is a very powerful industry standard application with layers, and there's great printing capabilities in Lightroom. On the downside, you'll need a color profile to work with infrared images in Adobe's applications. Lightroom for the iPad is solid, but Photoshop for the iPad can't read RAW files, lacks basic photo editing tools. Moving between the iPad apps is clunky. Adobe has their cloud, which can be used to transfer files, but really I wouldn't trust any cloud as the sole source for storing your files. And in fact, Adobe had an issue recently where an update to the apps wiped out the files in the cloud. I think that clouds are great for maintaining a sync between files, but I would never trust a cloud to be the sole source for a file. The Creative Cloud Photography plan is $10 a month, which is actually a great value if you consider what you're getting, but there are lower cost options available if you're not really fully leveraging that subscription. Next up is On1 360, which includes On1 Photo RAW for desktop, On1 Photo Mobile for mobile devices, and On1 360 for syncing and storing photos. This costs $8 a month for a subscription. And finally, in the best ecosystem category is the free open source software solutions. Darktable and Raw Therapy are great RAW editors. They both include cataloging. You might consider Digicam for cataloging. You'll need to use GIMP for advanced editing with layers, which is powerful but has a terrible user interface. Add HDR Merge and Huggin for HDR and panoramas, plus other free open source software to build a collection of tools. There's a link here where you can get a list of all open source imaging tools that are available. Okay, so So in the best ecosystem category, you really can't go wrong with any of these tools. These tools are all capable of editing infrared photos. I've used them all and they all work well. Which one you pick is going to depend on your preferences. For me, the winner is Lightroom and Photoshop. While there's some challenges in the mobile space that need to be worked out, Lightroom for the desktop and Photoshop for the desktop are among the most powerful and industry standard tools that are available in imaging, so these are definitely great solutions. It is costly at $10 a month for a subscription. However, if you're getting a lot of value out of that, that may not be a big deal. If you don't feel like you're getting value for that, there's other solutions available. And my honorable mention for best ecosystem is ON1. ON1 is really a great application, and by combining the desktop application with mobile applications and including a cloud solution to sync between them at a lower cost than what's available from Adobe, it's a great solution. So ON1 is an honorable mention for best ecosystem. There are many great applications available here which will support infrared and your specific needs. What do you think about these recommendations? Let me know in the comments. Do you have any topics related to infrared photography that you would like to see addressed? Leave a comment below. Do you have any infrared images that you'd like to see me edit in a video? There is a link in the description you can use to send them to me. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.